The data suggests that the iPhone 16 Plus is the biggest winner so far with the most pre-orders throughout the range, based on the current sales of iPhone 16 pre-orders. Because of this unusual deviation from the norm, a comparison between the iPhone 16 Pro Max and the iPhone 16 Plus is essential to decide which large iPhone is best for you. We go into detail in our hands-on review of the iPhone 16 Plus about how it gets even more features that were previously exclusive to the Pro models. These features include the action button, the capacity to take photos and videos in 3 dimensions, and Apple Intelligence features that will be available in a future software update. There are additional strong reasons to purchase the 16 Plus when you take into account its large display and the fact that its predecessor had the greatest battery life among iPhone models last year. That being said, there are still plenty of reasons to choose the biggest model in the lineup. For those who want to get the most out of their iPhone, the iPhone 16 Pro Max remains the phone to acquire thanks to an updated ultra-wide camera, a slightly revised design that adds extra screen without significantly increasing its size, and some cool video capturing options. We'll analyze every feature of both phones in our comparison of the iPhone 16 Pro Max and iPhone 16 Plus to see which one could be best for you. The iPhone 16 Pro Max comes with a somewhat more luxurious design considering its higher price. Its titanium alloy frame offers superior protection and durability. In addition, it weighs a little bit more, but when held in the hand, the added weight gives the build more substance. You may counter that the iPhone 16 Plus has a more endearing design since it comes in more vibrant hues, which enhance its already alluring appearance. The iPhone 16 Plus is available in 5 distinct colors, and its eye-catching hues, such as pink, teal, and ultramarine, definitely grab attention. Compared to the iPhone 16 Pro Max's neutral tones, these brighter hues stand out more. Both phones have the same IP68 water and dust resistance certification and ceramic shield glass, which is said to be more durable than any other smartphone glass available. Finally, the action button, camera control button, and USB-C connector that decorate them all have a similar design. Nevertheless, the iPhone 16 Pro Max has speedier USB 3 connectivity, allowing data transfer rates of up to 10 gigabits per second. With the iPhone 16 range, the Plus and Pro Max versions no longer have identical screens like they did in previous years. The 6.9-inch Super Retina XDR display on the iPhone 16 Pro Max is bigger than the 6.7-inch one on the iPhone 16 Plus. Although the size difference may not seem significant, the iPhone 16 Pro Max's thinner bezels surrounding the display allow it to fit in more screen real estate, while just slightly increasing its height over its predecessor. The Pro Max and Plus theoretically have the same pixel density of 460 ppi in terms of detail. The iPhone 16 Pro Max has a higher resolution of 2868 by 1320, while the iPhone 16 Plus, with a smaller screen of 6.7 inches and a resolution of 2796 by 1290, packs exactly as many pixels as its more costly sister.
My heart is shattered into pieces, fractured from the weight of broken promises. Each are a reminder of pain and sorrow, aching with memories of a brighter tomorrow. Once it beat with joy and hope, but now it's cracked and unable to cope with the wounds of love that did not last, leaving a void that's vast. Try to piece it together, mend the cracks, but some wounds are too deep. There's no going back. The glue of love that used to hold it tight has melted away in the the darkness of night, fragments of emotions scattered on the floor.
Resolution, however, is not the only criterion that determines a better display. Other aspects also important. The brightness of their panels is one thing we'd want to have evaluated. This is because Apple has given both devices the same peak 3000 nit rating. However, our benchmark testing has shown that the iPhone 15 Pro Max glows brighter than the iPhone 15 Plus, making it easier to view in direct sunlight. There shouldn't be any differences between the iPhone 16 Plus and 16 Pro Max this time around, although the latter's greater price would only be justified by its advantages. Lastly, it's important to note that the iPhone 16 Pro Max really benefits from its 120Hz ProMotion display, which enhances its gaming compatibility. The iPhone 16 Plus, on the other hand, is obtrusively limited to a 60Hz display refresh rate. Similar to the iPhone 15 variants from the previous year, the Plus and Pro Max are priced $300 apart. With its $899 price tag, the iPhone 16 Plus naturally has an advantage over the other as it is the less expensive of the two. On the other hand, the iPhone 16 Pro Max costs $1,199, which puts it somewhat outside the budget of many consumers. It's important to note that the basic storage capacities for the iPhone 16 Plus and 16 Pro Max are 128 GB and 256 GB, respectively. Additionally, the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is an expensive device, offers additional capacity for those who would rather not use cloud-based services. In particular, a 512 GB iPhone 16 Plus will set you back $1,199, while a 1 TB iPhone 16 Pro Max would set you back $1,599. Contrary to popular belief, the iPhone 16 Plus gains advantages from using Apple's most recent processor. While the iPhone 16 Pro Max employs a turbocharged version of the A18 Pro processor, which has a 6-core GPU instead of the ordinary A18's 5-core GPU, the A18 chip powering the iPhone 16 Plus is manufactured using a 3nm process. Both chipsets include a 16-core neural engine to handle new AI capabilities with Apple Intelligence, in addition to 6-core CPUs with 2 performance and 4 efficiency cores. Naturally, we anticipate greater performance increases from the A18 Pro processor in the iPhone 16 Pro Max. However, even with its 5-core GPU, the iPhone 16 Plus is still a contender. Like the iPhone 16 Pro Max, it now supports hardware ray tracing. Although we are unable to say for sure now which is superior, based on past performance, we would wager on the 16 Pro Max. The cameras on both phones are the talk of the town, particularly since they include the new camera control button that gives you more control over how you take pictures and record movies. Learning all the actions required to utilize camera control to switch between settings has a learning curve, but because the iPhone 16 Plus and iPhone 16 Pro Max have the same features, the iPhone 16 Plus really benefits more from this. It's also important to note that the iPhone 16 Plus's newly built vertical dual camera setup allows it to take spatial photographs and movies. In terms of technology, the iPhone 16 Pro Max maintains an advantage thanks to its triple camera system, which includes a 12MP telephoto with 5x optical zoom, a 48MP primary, and a newly updated 48MP ultra-wide. A 48MP primary camera and a newly designed 12MP ultra-wide lens make up the dual camera system seen in the iPhone 16 Plus. As previously, Apple uses pixel binning with the primary camera to achieve 2x zoom with optical quality, in response to the iPhone 16 Plus's absence of a specialized zoom camera. The more expensive iPhone 16 Pro Max would seem to have an advantage, yet it has the same 12MP selfie camera as the 16 Plus. Naturally, we can't wait to compare the two iPhones side by side and see whether there are any changes at all. We expect this to be the same since the Pro Max models have historically outperformed the Plus versions in terms of low light and dynamic range. This year, Apple has prioritized video recording more than in the past, and the 16 Pro Max makes this much more clear. The 16 Pro Max's enhanced 4K 120 frames per second video recording will excite videographers as it allows for more creative freedom by slowing down the film. You can still record 4K 60 frames per second video using the iPhone 16 Plus. In order to get even better quality audio, Apple has added a new function to both iPhone models in addition to video. The 4 microphones on both models are used by the new audio mix to separate noises so that you may subsequently edit the sound using the Photos app. Studio quality microphones in the iPhone 16 Pro Max, on the other hand, ought to record sounds more accurately. Since iOS 18 is now available officially, it is anticipated that both iPhone models will come pre-installed with that version of Apple's iPhone software. Because they will have access to new iOS 18 features like home screen personalization options, RCS support in Messages, and a revamped Photos app, their software experiences won't change. Their experiences are really identical, which is evidence of Apple's tendency to deploy its software in a similar manner. In our review of iOS 18, we go into all the details. The most significant influence on the experience, however, will undoubtedly come from Apple Intelligence, which will debut in a later update. It seems that the Apple Intelligence features, such as the photo cleanup tool, writing tools, and the new Siri, will be available to both the Plus and the Pro Max. Additionally, they will both acquire visual intelligence later this year, enabling users to easily search objects using their cameras. You would think Apple might potentially hold on to a few extra special ones for the 16 Pro Max to entice users to get the more costly model, but none exist. All of this is fantastic news for the iPhone 16 Plus, meaning the experience won't be compromised in the slightest. Time will tell whether there is a significant difference in the performance of the phones, but there may be variations in how fast they can implement these new Apple Intelligence functions, mostly because the A18 Pro CPU is better geared to handle them. Apple claims that the power packs within the iPhone 16 Plus and iPhone 16 Pro Max are bigger than those found in previous models, although the firm does not reveal the battery capacity in its phones. Even though the iPhone 16 Pro Max may have a bigger battery, the battery life may not really be greater. This is because, in our tests conducted last year, the iPhone 15 Plus outlasted the iPhone 15 Pro Max. If we do further thorough testing, this may still be the case. It would seem that the difference between the two iPhone models would become more every year, but that is not the case. The iPhone 16 Pro Max's superiority over the iPhone 16 Plus in regards to its display, processing speed, battery life, and cameras accounts for a large portion of its worth. This is because we weren't expecting the iPhone 16 Plus to come with many of the same features, such as Apple Intelligence features and the camera control button. When comparing the $300 price difference between the two phones, the bigger and better 120Hz promotion display, additional cameras with a specialized telephoto lens, supposedly quicker A18 Pro processor, and 4K 120 frames per second video capture are the key reasons to spend the more. These may not be sufficient to persuade customers at this time, which is most likely why pre-order sales of the iPhone 16 Plus are now surpassing forecasts. However, after a thorough study offers more information about the two iPhones' performance, things could change.